who he believes should win Rookie of the Year. He said, quote, me, 100%. Simmons is an elite company. His 12 triple-doubles as a rookie are second most in NBA history behind only Hall of Famer Oscar Robertson. So, CC, what do you make of Simmons proclaiming himself Rookie of the Year?
Well, he had the best season. They asked him a question. Who's the Rookie of the Year? He has been the Rookie of the Year. I don't know why he should have said someone else. Like, it's an honest answer. It's clear he's been better than the rest of the pack. This to me it's not that difficult. Now, Ben Simmons, we haven't heard too much of him. Hadn't done a whole bunch of interviews, haven't had a whole bunch of sound bites from him, but his play has spoken for itself on the court. When you mention in the same breath as Oscar Robertson, that's saying something right there. Donovan Mitchell, no one campaigned harder for him.
That's
and
right.
my campaign wasn't for him to be Rookie of the Year. My campaign was that people would notice his overall play. And don't have some West Coast bias because he's in Utah or something like that. Or don't have some bias that's created by lack of knowledge. He's had an amazing rookie year coming after his second year at Louisville. Great draft pick. Also, the Gordon Hayward leaving. Oh, they don't miss him as much now because of Donovan Mitchell. So great things happen there in Utah, but Philadelphia and Ben Simmons is the true Rookie of the Year.
And listen, on Donovan Mitchell's side, just quickly here, he is only the 9th rookie in 20 years to average at least 20 points per game. He's only the 2nd rookie in 20 years to do that for a playoff team. The only other guy who had done it in the last 20 years was Carmelo Anthony, who we actually talked about earlier in the show. Like, Donovan Mitchell, most years, would be the runaway favorite for Rookie of the Year. This year's different. Like, most years, Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum's the discussion. Ben Simmons, forget Rookie of the Year. Of course he's going to win Rookie of the Year. He's going to show up on some All-NBA ballots. He might be 3rd-team All-NBA this year as a rookie. That's something LeBron didn't do. To be an All-NBA guy your rookie season. Now, what you're going to find out about Ben Simmons, my good friend Jenna Wolf, is Ben Simmons is the type of athlete that I love that tends to maybe rub you slightly the wrong way. Ben Simmons has some opinions now, and he certainly thinks very highly of his own ability, and he should. Like, I have no beef with anything he said. I think he's being honest. But Ben Simmons, the more he talks, the more we're going to see there's a reason he self-glossed himself with the nickname Young Prince to go with King James.
I love this quote. Have any other rookies caught your eye? Ben Simmons says, none. He says, I want to be where the greats are. So for me, I watch the guys like Durant, LeBron, Curry, Russ, guys like that. That's where I want to be. I think for me, that's where I love to watch. So yes, of course, he has some of that in him. But my question quickly to you before we move on, how much of his success this year is because he did take a year off? Not intentionally, obviously, but...
We can't equate it. But being familiar with the NBA, being able to travel with the NBA, seeing NBA practice, being exposed to NBA coaching, the training, being able to take care of his body, to physically get his body ready for the regiment. Well, now it's not the coaches just telling you something.
Yeah.
You've actually seen it.
Yeah.
You spent a year traveling around. You kind of understand the rigors of the NBA. What are some of the traps that young players get caught into? What are some of the cities and certain things you have to watch out for? All that's invaluable. It's like someone giving you got a final exam and the teacher tells you, know something, Jen, I'm going to let you take the exam home tonight and let you prepare for it. So absolutely, your chance of he's at a serious advantage on the rest of the field having an extra year.
And just look at the development of his upper body muscularly from his 1 year at LSU to this year playing for Philadelphia, especially because he's not a shooter, because he scores his baskets in the paint. Having that upper body developed over a year where he's a professional athlete has been wildly invaluable to him. So, yeah, I think that much like...
A year off didn't help his jump shot, though.
Didn't help his jump shot, but Blake Griffin won a Rookie of the Year this way, by the way.
Basketball player who has no jump shot. Yeah. That is like a...
He's not the only one, but he's one of the most prominent ones.
They're not winning Rookie of the Year.
Fair
That's
enough.
what makes it so much more fun to talk about. Moving on to last night's Cavaliers game. CC and Nick in attendance at the Garden. Jenna wasn't. That's the last time I bring that up. Cavs came, saw, conquered. They won their 50th game of the year behind a 26-point, 11-assist performance from LeBron. They'll play the Knicks again tomorrow in Cleveland. If they win, they will finish with 51 wins on the season, an insanely drama-filled season. Last year, with stability and Kyrie, they had 51 wins. Go figure. LeBron spoke after the game.
I mean, listen, throughout a long season, if you're able to accomplish feats, no matter what's going on, you should always try to appreciate it, try to take time. I've been one, I'm kind of like, been a hypocrite of that because I'm always moving and trying to figure out how we can be better the next day or whatever the case be. So it's always hard for me to be like, okay, another division crown, even after everything that's going on with our team and our ball club this year. But it's a pretty cool thing.
All right, Nick, this has been an unbelievably dramatic year, if you will, for the Cleveland Cavs. Between roster changes and injuries and trades and whatnot, and the new names coming through here, how impressed, surprised, gobsmacked were you that they're going to end with the same amount of wins, basically?
Yeah, LeBron's got a long list of unbelievable accomplishments. This isn't at the top of it. But it's on that upper shelf. I mean, last night LeBron became the first player ever to win 10 straight divisional titles. The only guys ever with 9 straight were either on the Lakers in the 80s or Russell's Celtics. LeBron's obviously done it with 2 different organizations. This will also be LeBron's 10th consecutive personally 50-win season. It is his 12th overall 50-win season. That's something where eventually he will set the all-time record in as well. But to win the same amount of games this year as they did last year, it answers what, to me, has been one of the most fun what-ifs that has been asked about LeBron James the better part of the last decade. If you put LeBron James on any team in the East, do they become the favorites in the East? And the answer is unequivocally, absolutely, yes. The Cavs right now are the favorites in the East. If LeBron were not on this team, they are the Orlando Magic. A team whose best player would be Kevin Love, who only played 60 games. They are fighting for 20 to 25 wins. So LeBron James, this year, worth 25 games for a team. No one else in the league is worth more than 10. Like, this answers all those great questions about how much is it the system? How much is it the coaching? How much is it the supporting cast? No, it's him. And there were questions about that when he was with Wade or when Kyrie was there. No questions about it this year. You went from Kyrie being traded to IT being hurt to the entire team being traded to Kevin Love being out to Ty Lue being out. They're going into game 82, Jenna, and they have not yet played one game with their full roster.
So then this becomes my question to you guys. Maybe it doesn't matter. The last month, we've been talking about how this Cavaliers team doesn't have a solidified roster where the same 5 are going to show up night after night. And I think maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe what they've done, getting 50, 51 wins, is going to be just fine with this sort of piecemealed group of players that they put together because of LeBron James. What do you think about that, CC?
Well, LeBron James that's a good start. I mean, if you look at the East, we're trying to make the comparison what they did this year compared to what they did last year, and just because they had Kyrie. Last year, they gave up the #1 seed and lost their way to 50 wins. This year, they had to win. They had to push the gas at the end. They won 9 out of the last. They won last one. They won 9 out of the last 11 games. So, yeah, they're at the same point, but how they got there is totally different. This was an awful regular season. This was an ugly regular season. They also lost their superstar of the future in Kyrie Irving. So, man, this is the type of season. We talked about Russ earlier, like this being monumental. Man, this is a monumental season in Cleveland. This is going to be the season that they lost LeBron. Forget about what happens in the playoff. LeBron decides to leave them. Wait, we're not going to be sitting around talking about, oh, man, they won 50 games. Oh, they won 51 games. No, that's going to be the season that led to LeBron exiting Cleveland. So we can sit around and be like, yeah, great regular season. Yeah, they accomplished with everything they went through, winning 50 games. It is an accomplishment. Okay, let's get a small hand clap. Now let's watch and see what happens after that. Because for me, it's the aftermath that is more important than the totality of the season.
Do you think there was, pre-Kyrie being traded, do you think LeBron was still on his way out of town? Even if they had kept Kyrie?
No.
You think? Okay.
No.
All right. So I think
No, when you're in search of a young superstar, Kyrie Irving is at the top of that list. And he didn't have the type of relationship with LeBron that they couldn't coexist. LeBron still wants to keep Kyrie. So, yes, that changed everything in Cleveland for me.
So for you, I just want to make sure I understand. Once that trade happened, anything short of them winning the championship this year was going to be an enormous disappointment. Right? Because it helps usher LeBron further out the door. They lost their future superstar in Kyrie. I just want to make sure I understand it.
LeBron's goals is winning championships. All right? When they traded Kyrie, they're not a championship team. They don't have championship pedigree. They don't have the roster for a championship. So when Kyrie changed, to me, that changed their arc. How high their ceiling could be. that changed with Kyrie Irving because I knew that LeBron can't do that with Kevin Love.
All right. Did you get your answer?
Well, yeah.
I was busy sneezing, so
no,
I did.
No problem.
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
Don't worry.
Something isn't.
The pollen. It's 32 degrees in New York.
Again, it's raining. I can't wait to talk to Joy Taylor about how it's pouring rain all day today in New York. Coming up, can Eli and Odell make it work for years to come? Eli seems to think so. Next on First